Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the second video of Reading Camp. I thought we'd do a little sit down video together and do some chatting together about how the first half of this year has been in terms of reading. So we're gonna do a little half-year reading check-in basically. I'm going to talk about my favorite books so far of the year, we're gonna share some stats and talk about my goals for the second part of this year. I don't know, I love reading, but I also love to talk about books, so that's what we're doing today in this video. So grab a drink for yourself and I will have a little talk heart to heart about books, my favorite topic. First of all, this year has been so good in terms of reading for me. I don't know what it is, but I am hooked on reading. I always was, but this year so far, even more. I've read some amazing books, I've tried new genres, I found a few 5 stars and some new favorites, and I have read a lot of books. I think I'm sort of lining up for a record year. Let's first share some stats. I'm using Fable as like my book tracking app. I've read 66 books so far. I'm on a reading streak of 182 days. That's every single day this year so far. And I have an average rating of 4 stars. Honestly, I think that's pretty high. But that is probably because I almost never rate under 3 stars. That doesn't happen a lot, but still, 4 stars, that's pretty high. My reading goal for this year was 50 books, so I'm already way past my reading goal, but that's because I don't do like specific reading goals. I just want to read and see how many I end up with. I don't want it to be this goal that I have to hold on to. And I noticed in the past when I had very high reading goals, I would pick books that were shorter and not specifically the books that I wanted to read. So I don't want to do that anymore. That's why I always set a pretty low reading goal for me. But I think 100 books must be doable this year. I'm gonna go over that. So this might potentially be a reading record year for me. In January, I read 10 books. In February, 14. In March, 10 again, and then April and May both 8. So I had a little dip. And in June, 15. Insane. Oh, it says I have more than 10 5-star books? That can't be right, honestly. Is it? Oh my god, that's a lot. And the author I read the most books by is Tahara Mafi. That's because I finished the Shatter Me series this year and there are a few novellas in there, so that helps. And then on second place, Danielle Jensen with 3 reads because I'm currently reading the Bridge Kingdom series, but I think one of those 3 is also a novella. Okay, stats are out of the way. Let's do some awards for the best books, for books that make me cry, unexpected books, and just fun stuff like that. So I think we're just gonna start with a very traumatic one. The biggest cry. Book that made me cry the hardest. And that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I just said that I started some new genres or tried out new genres this year. And this definitely is proof of that, because I am not the biggest literary fiction or literary fan, to be honest. I like my books to be a little bit more fast-paced and yeah, just easy to read. So that's why I normally read a lot of contemporary romance and romanticies. But this was a book club pick, and so I had to pick it up. And I was actually not looking forward to picking up this book because I very dislike war books. That may sound superficial, but they don't make me happy. So I don't like to pick those up. I know many people love this, so I was willing to give it a chance. And I have to tell you, this was a 5-star. I would give it 6 stars if possible. This definitely is one of the best books I've ever read. And it made me bawl my eyes out. Like truly, Wes was already asleep when I finished this because I had to finish it. And I was trying to do a silent cry. It didn't work. He was lying next to me and I was like... And he was like, are you okay? It was just so beautiful. So sad. So yeah, definitely the biggest cry. This made me sob. I've never cried like that after reading a book, but this definitely made me do it. So because of that, I am also a little bit less hesitant towards literary fiction. I have to say, I've read some more literary fiction, not that much, but a few books. And it made me less hesitant. So I'm trying out different genres. Then the most underrated book that I've read this year, or like a hidden gem that I don't hear that many people about, is definitely Unearthly by Cynthia Hand. This is a romantasy series and I think it was released around 2010? Yeah, 2011. So this is more of a, okay, not truly a zeros book, but almost a zeros book. Just those good old romantasy books. This gave me Twilight vibes. Vampire Diaries, all that, those good series. Teen Wolf, those vibes in this book. Just you follow a high school student. There's a love triangle also. This was super easy to read. It's not the best book that I read, definitely not. It's not that deep, basically. I was just so entertained. Then I immediately read the second book as well in the series, Hollowed, and that was very fun as well. So I'm looking forward to the third book in the series. I don't have it yet, but I want to finish this. The vibes were unreal, so I would definitely recommend this series if you like series like Twilight, Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, all that stuff. Then my favorite romance book so far this year, because most of my favorite books and 5 stars are often fantasy, but I did have a 5-star romance book this year, and it's In Her Own League by Liz Tomforty. I just love all of her books so much. I don't know what she puts in these, but the characters are amazing. I don't know, I just eat this up. Some of the Windy City series books I prefer over this, but I still loved it. It was just still so good and so entertaining. Would definitely recommend this. I loved it. My biggest disappointment this year, because yeah, that also happens when you read as much as I do. Sometimes you get disappointed by books. It doesn't happen often that I'm actually disappointed. Sometimes you have books that aren't as good as you hoped, but they're still fun. But sometimes you have books where you're actually disappointed and wish it was different. That was the case the most with A Raven Scooter. This book feels like a brick. It is super thick. I just can't get through this. I got this as a gift from a friend because I wanted to read this book so bad. It was on my 2026 list, and it was right at the top of that list. I wanted to read this. I had such high expectations. I genuinely thought that I was gonna love this and that it was gonna blow me away. And at least it should have been a 4-star. You can see how thick it is. And I'm halfway through, and I have been halfway through for a few months now because I stopped reading it. I DNF'd it. And if you must know one thing about me, book related, is that I almost never DNF, because I always feel like if I want to have a true opinion about the book, I should finish it, because I can't really give my opinion about a book if I don't know how it ends, because the ending could change everything for me. So I really wanted to keep reading, but I couldn't. I didn't want to pick it up. This book is so slow for me, and still I accidentally opened it on my Kindle without knowing that I opened Raven Scooter, and I didn't recognize the book that I was reading. It took me a bit to realize that it was Raven Scooter. So everything I read so far, it didn't land. I don't know. I didn't process it, I think. I still think the concept of this book is super interesting. And it's not that I disliked the plot, but I just couldn't get through it. It was just a tough read for me. I know a lot of people who love this in real life as well, but it's just not for me. No. The biggest surprise of this year so far for me was Starside. I really enjoyed this. I read Lightlark, I think last year or the year before, and also the second book in that series. I already forgot what it's called. And I didn't love the second book in the series. Lightlark was fun. The second book just dragged on and on and on. And I know a lot of people told me that if you think that with book 2, book 3 is going to be even worse. So I didn't finish that series. I might still finish it one day, but not right now. But I did want to give Alex Astor another chance, because Lightlark is a young adult series, and I'm not the biggest fan of young adult fantasy books. And this is her first adult series, so I thought I'd give her a chance again and try Starside, and I really liked it. Yeah, it was just very addictive. I liked the main character, I liked the story, I liked the romance. Oh, and there's also animals and dragons. What's not to love? Prettiest cover of this year. This one is stunning, you guys. It is Bloodbound, and I was so curious about Bloodbound because before I got this, I know some people said that got ARC books that this was gonna be the book of the year. I don't think that's the case right now, but I did love it. I did give it 5 stars. Let's take a look at this cover. This is my Illumicrate copy. I got this in my book subscription, and I genuinely think this is one of my favorite Illumicrate books ever that I got. And I definitely love the naked hardcover. This must be one of the prettiest books I ever had. A panther with wings and a polar bear and fox I can't remember. Stunning, 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 stunning. And I also have a new favorite author this year, or it's now one of my favorite authors, I would say. And it is Sable Sorensen, who wrote Diarybound. Actually, Sable Sorensen is a writing duo. I think two best friends. Yeah, a pen name for Eliza and Annie, two fantasy fangirls. I feel like writing duos are becoming more of a thing, because Alice Hunter from Bloodbound is also a writing duo, I think. Diarybound actually came out last year, and I feel like this was one of the books of last year. However, I didn't read it last year. I picked it up this year. It was very high on my 26 and 2026 list, and I loved it. It is a little bit predictable, but I love books where the vibes are good, and I don't necessarily need it to be the best fantasy, like the best thought out book or the most original book for it to be a 5-star for me. And that was the case with Diarybound. A little predictable. I predicted every single thing that happened in here. Almost every single thing, but it was still okay because the reading experience was just perfect. I loved reading this, got me hooked, wanted to keep reading, and then shortly after I read that, Furybound came out, also read that and also loved it. I think I gave Furybound 4.5 stars and this one 5 stars, but both so good. So now that I've read those two books, I definitely want to read more by Sable Sorensen. I don't think they have more books right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if they would publish something new, I would immediately buy it and read it. So they're definitely very high on my list of authors that I would instantly buy right now. And then the top 5 of books that I read this year. Actually, a lot of these I already mentioned, but let's go through my top 5. And I'm having a very hard time to determine my number 1. So let's just start at my number 1. Let's just give them a combined number 1, please. Because they're such different books. Diarybound and The Nightingale, both a 5-star for different reasons, but I loved both of these. Actually, I think I'm gonna go for number 1 for Nightingale because I feel like this was such a good, beautiful book, and this was just very entertaining and good in that sense, like in good vibes. Number 1 is gonna be Nightingale. Number 2 is gonna be Diarybound. And then number 3, I think it's gonna be Metal Slinger. We haven't mentioned it, but also one of my most surprising books, I would say. Although I did suspect that I would like it, just reading that book, yeah, it surprised me. That's all I can say. I don't want to spoil things, but super easy to read, super fun, big plot twist, and I can't wait for book 2, which is actually out already, but I still need to read it. I want to get a new copy, or a copy, I don't have one yet, and then read it. I'm super excited to start that. So Metal Slinger at the 3rd spot. I think 4th spot is then In Her Own League. I just normally rate romance a little lower than fantasy, but so good for romance. And then number 5 is Bloodbound, I think. I think that also answers my book bracket for this year because I was having a hard time between The Nightingale and Diarybound. Diarybound was my favorite Q2 book, Nightingale my favorite Q1 book, but Nightingale is definitely the winner. And then my plans for the rest of this year is just to keep going and read lots of books and have fun. I am not gonna set another harsh reading goal, but honestly, I think 100 must be super doable. I mean, that means that I only have to read 34 more books, which is almost half of what I read in the first half of the year. So I think I must be able to do that. But I don't want to set it as a goal because, I don't know, I can't imagine. But what if next week I think, kind of done with reading? Which is never going to happen, but I don't want to push myself like that. Reading is a hobby and it should be fun. So I'm not gonna set a harsh goal, but I think 100 will be doable. And then also one of my goals for this year was to read books sooner after they come out. I actually want to do a spread in my journal, haven't done it yet, of tracking books that I read within 3 months of them being released. I think 3 months would be a good period of time, but maybe I'll change that up. But of all the books that I read within that period of time after they come out, because like I said, one of my goals was to read books sooner after they come out, and I think I've been doing pretty well with that. Bloodbound within 2 months, I think Starsight also within 2 months, Furybound, In Her Own League, I all read those super soon. So yeah, I think I'm doing great on that goal, but that is a goal that I want to focus on for the rest of the year. I just want to read books sooner after they come out because I think it's fun, because then the hype is like the biggest and I want to be part of that hype more. So I'm doing well, but I'm going to continue doing that. Okay, now I want to hear about you guys, because what was your favorite book of the year? And let's also do most surprising one. I actually want to know what your most surprising book was. So let's do a favorite of these first 6 months, and then do the book that surprised you most. Please let me know in the comments what those books are, because I want to find some new favorites as well. So give me suggestions and tips for that. But that's about it about my first half of the year. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That would help me a lot. And make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all of my upcoming content, including many more reading camp videos. Next one I will post on Sunday. I have something really exciting coming, so make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with that. And then with that being said, I hope to see you very soon. Bye guys. Bye bye.